Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about how to use self-hosted large language model with Visual Studio Code. So first you need to install a piece of software called Ollama. Depending on which operating system, which package manager you're using, it's usually just one line of code. You can install it. I use Arch Linux. It's very easy to download and install Ollama. Once installed, you can type which Ollama. Okay, it's installed. Then you can install large language models. If you visit this page called Ollama Library, you will find a large number of free large language models for download. There's Llama from Facebook, DeepSeek from China, and there are a bunch of other large language models. The Quinn, which is very good, also from China, from Alibaba. Depending on your hardware, I have installed two large language models. I can use Ollama List, Quinn 2.5, 5 billion parameters versus Quinn 3 Coder, which is huge, 30 billion parameters. And you can see the first model takes up about 400 megabytes, the second 18 gigabyte. So depending on your computer's hardware, if you use a video card with a 24 gig of RAM, VRAM, you can use this 18 gig model. You want your whole model fit into the VRAM of your video card. The command to install a model is very simple. Just Ollama poll and then the model name, like this string or this string. You're all set. Once you have installed these large language models on your computer, you can then use them in your Visual Studio Code. The AI agent to connect your text editor, which is Visual Studio Code, to this large language model is called Continue. It's also free. Just install it through this Visual Studio Code extensions. It's the equivalent of Microsoft GitHub Copilot, Copilot the chat, that plugin, So if you click on Continue, and then you need to configure it, click on this gear icon, open settings. You need to resize the window a bit, and on the left-hand side there's configs. Click on the configs, the main config. There is another gear icon. Click on this one. You can see your configuration file and my home directory, my name, and .continue, config.yaml. You can read the documentation, obviously. That's the easiest way. To read documentation, create this configuration for you. You can see there's model, name, Quinn 3 coder, Quinn 2.5, blah, blah, blah. But another simpler way is to use a large language model like a Gemini. You can just open your browser. Gemini is free, and you can just type, hey, I use Arch Linux. I installed a Visual Studio Code with a Continue plugin, and I installed two large language models, the Quinn 2.5, Quinn 3 coder. Can you please create this config.yaml file for me? And the large language model will write all these code for you. So that's an even faster way. If there's error, just paste the configuration file to the chat window. Hey, Gemini, you just produced the wrong code. No, there's some error. And then the Gemini or ChatGPT, they will be able to fix the errors. I will just paste it again, and most likely it will start working. So that's how you create the configuration file using AI or read the documentation. Once it is done, you can now ask questions. You go back, you can see, you can click on the last session. You can ask whatever, just like any chat window. You can ask questions about the coding, about anything pretty much. Here's an example. I just asked which city is the capital of China, and answers the capital of China is Beijing, which is correct. It will prompt you to read some files, so you can just accept, then you're all set. So that's how, pretty much, everybody using AI, you know what this is, right? Here, there's a selection. You can select agent, which is very powerful, and the AI agent will allow this continue to read files, write files, create new files, delete files. So the large language model you can select Quinn, Also, you can use continue to connect to proprietary models as well. If you pay the money, you can just connect your continue to, say, GPT or other larger models, Claude. So that's how you install your large language model on your computer and use it with the Visual Studio Code. For a developer, obviously, I have a full-time job. I write code at work. I do not write a lot of code at home. compared to the amount of code I write at work, it's just minuscule. Yeah, the easiest solution is just pay like $10 a month to Microsoft, so you have GitHub Copilot Pro or any other kind of vendors. You can use the vendor APIs to access large language models without having to install anything on your computer. So it does not make sense for anyone, like developer, to set up things like this. I'm just trying to say that it's not difficult, yeah, to host large language model. And contrary to some misconception, the energy consumption of a video card, say 24 gig video card from NVIDIA, is fairly small, like 35 watts. It's not big. Incandescent light bulb can be 65 watts or even 100 watts. It's 35 is not much. And when you ask questions, the AI model starts to do the inference, then the energy consumption can jump to like 300 watts or 400 watts. It's a lot of energy, but they come in spikes, yeah, because usually just use it for a few seconds, you're all set, yeah. So energy consumption is not too much. The video card will cost you quite a bit of money, maybe $1,000 or more, sometimes 700 if you buy used, yeah. So yeah, video card is a kind of cost, yeah. Now, what benefit does this kind of self-hosting offer? Already mentioned, if you're just a developer writing code a little bit at home, it's not worth it. Just to pay $10 a month or whatever plan, like $30, it's negligible amount of money. Yeah, you can just use vendor solutions. But for an organization, I read an article. If your consumption of AI is over $4,200 a month, think about GitHub Copilot Enterprise, $30 a month. That means 140 people in your organization are subscribers. That 140 people can be, say, 40 developers, some data scientists, some data engineers. They all write computer code. They want to have access to the AI tools, GitHub Copilot. Then $30 times 140, you can very easily reach that 140 threshold. Yeah, you could have multiple hundreds of people in your organization using this kind of paid API services like the GitHub Copilot. Then you might consider hosting your own large language models, open source models. The benefits are, first, the cost is much lower because the superpower competition between China and the US. Chinese companies cannot get access to the cutting edge NVIDIA chips, so they have to work extra hard on the model side, the software side. So their models will not utilize the full parameters. Like this model has 60 billion parameters. When you ask a question and the model starts to infer, it will use a subset, maybe a small subset of the parameters, not the full parameter. So their models produce very good results, but at a tiny fraction of the computational cost. It consumes far less energy. So to protect the environment, I think these open source models are great. The second reason is the saving cost. As I mentioned, you spend money to rent video cards. There's some energy cost, but you do not pay any licensing fees. If your usage is above $4,200 a month, you could save money by self-hosting large language models. A third benefit, obviously, is to protect your data. Your data will never leave your company's virtual network because the virtual machines, the video cards, they're all hosted on your private network, so no data is lost. This is another good reason to use self-hosting. And the last reason is to be flexible. Now, if you use a vendor option, like Microsoft stuff, you use Microsoft products everywhere. Later, you got addicted to their products. They may raise the cost. They may charge you more. Oh, I now charge $60 a month. You're already using it for a long time. It's very expensive for you to switch. Then you could end up paying a lot of money. So being flexible is another reason to self-host large language models. Okay, I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.